this video, we will make TBox acting as a web server. So for that, we will develop HTML pages that we will send inside TBox, and we will display those HTML pages through a browser. I will show you from a browser what we will do. So this is the index page that will allow us to log in inside TBox. So let's log here as an operator. When I log in as an operator, I see I have a link to one page, which is the water page, which displays the process. It displays historical data of tags. It displays events, and it gives me access to the valves, the pump, the tank, and some internal data of TBox. As an operator, for instance, I can activate the valve manually. Let's go back to the home page. Let's now log as an engineer to see what we can see as an engineer. Log in. Now I see I can access a maintenance page. Let's take a look to this maintenance page. And this maintenance page shows me all the runtime parameters we have implemented in the previous video, and that allows me to customize the configuration of TBox. For instance, I can change the name corresponding to the site where the TBox is. Okay, all those pages, we will develop them as you can see them now in this video. So let's go to TwinSoft. In TwinSoft, I will first deactivate the access protection, preventing having to log all the time. It's much easier when we are in a development phase. We will reactivate protection at the end where we have finished. So I go to the RTU properties, protection, and I just check out access security. Now, the HTML page are built from what we call web forms. So the web form is like a big object inserted into an HTML page. So to develop those HTML page, we go to the folder Web and Report, add a web report, and we select new WebForm2.0. Forget about the web form. Those are the legacy HTML pages based on ActiveX. Now we work with the WebForm2 based on Ajax. So new WebForm2. It prompts me automatically to create a page called index with small letters. Be careful that HTML pages are case sensitive. Why index? Because a browser, when it connects to a web server, it tries to find a page called index. So if our home page is named index, you will not have to type any HTML page just to know the IP address of TBox. Save. You see that when you create a page, TwinSoft create two files. A TWA file, which is a TBox web form based on Ajax, and an HTML page. If I look into the browser displays the HTML page. But this HTML page just constitutes a container of the web form itself. So if I look to the source of the page, I can see, okay, this is just the code for the HTML page, and inside I can see that I have a link to an XHTML which contains all the information displayed on the page, which is the content of the web form. And what we will work on is on the web form, not in text like this, of course. We have a software called WebForms2.0 to do that. Let's create other pages. So we have 3 pages. We have the index. Then I will make another page that I will call water. And a third page called maintenance, when I am an engineer, that allows me to customize the application. Maintenance. Okay, so I have my three web forms with the associated HTML page. all the development is done in the web form. You don't touch the HTML. So I double click index.twa, and this opens a new software called WebForms2.0 in which I will edit this web form. We will first start editing the water page in which we have our process. So I go back into TwinSoft, I double click the water TWA file, and I go back into my WebForms2.0, and I have a tab with water. Okay, now we have on the right side the details, the properties of the object we have selected. On the left side we have libraries with available objects, and in the middle we have the web form itself. So the background of the web form is in the object we call TWA, and if I list all the objects I have minimum 2 objects. So the TWA is the canvas in which I will put all the objects, and the main object is the resources required to display all the objects. So those 2 objects are mandatory and will be always there, and you will just add object on the TWA. First, let's take a look to the properties of this TWA. We can, for instance, change the background of our web form. So we can say, we can take a lighter yellow, so we can take something like this. Okay, now we can resize, so I will resize in number of pixels so that I can put all the objects I want, as you have seen in the presentation, and then we can start adding object. So first I will insert a clock. So remember we have seen the clock. So I just click in the library and I drag and I put it somewhere. And from here, the only thing I can do from here is move and resize. So we'll just resize the clock like this. And a clock is a dynamic object. So it's an object that can be associated to TBox tags. The tags are from the TwinSoft application, and if I look into my TWA object, one of the properties is the application I have started the web form from. Because I have started the web form from my application here, so automatically my web form is associated to this TBox application, so I can access all the tags available in this application. So if I select the clock, you see the window here changes, and I have no access to the properties of the selected object. And in those properties I have a tab MISC in which I can add tags. So I will select the tag hours. I will select the tag minutes, and I will select the tag second. Okay, so we have defined our first object. Now let's put a tank to display our water level in the tank. So I will take the tank number 2, for instance. So I just click and I drag. And I can leave this size, okay. So in this kind of object, I can change the scale. You see here I have 175, 50. I can say, okay, what I want to see is meters. So I can say I want to see 2 meters, 4 meters, 6 meters, 8 meters. And the tag associated is the tag here. It's a water. It's water tank, this one. And this tag has a variation from 0 to 100. Remember, this tag is the one which is computed into our basic program to simulate filling and emptying of the tank. Okay. Now I will make a third object, which is a pump. So where is the pump? Here is the pump. I will set the pump here, and the pump I will associate it to the tag pump. As simple as that. The pump, this one here, okay. And something very important here, I want to be able to activate the pump from the web form. So for each object I have a security tab in which I have a write level protection. So by default the writing is protected. So I can select which level I want to give to the writing. Either writing is not allowed, or only an engineer can write, or an operator can write. I will say that only an engineer can activate manually the pump. And I can ask for confirmation, yes or no. I say no. So just by clicking on the pump, if I am an engineer, it will allow me to start and stop the pump. Let's check whether this works. But there is no way to do a simulation from the WebForm Studio itself. We have to send to TBox and communicate to TBox. So I will save here. I will go to TwinSoft and send to TBox. I have opened a browser and TwinSoft at the same time so that we can see the tag changing and we can see the result in the browser. So I just type the IP of TBox. If you communicate through the USB, you will type 10.8.10.1 plus the name of the HTML page. If you communicate through the Ethernet, you will type 192.168.199 and also the name of the HTML page. So here we are. So now we can see our water tank is going up because our pump is pumping water. So I can start and stop the pump from here. I click, it stopped the pump. The waters go down. I activate the pump, it starts filling. My clock is turning, so I can see the second turning. Okay, so my web form is okay already, and I can see it communicates with the TBox properly. So let's continue our edition. First I will increase a little bit this clock, and I will put it on the other side. Now I will design the pipe for the valve. So I have in the library industry, I have a pipe, so I can insert a pipe. I drag the pipe, I can resize the pipe. By the way, you can send back and bring to front. So in this case, I want the pipe to be behind the tank. So I do send back, and now the pipe, you see, it's behind the tank. Now I will add an angle. So I click angle. You can orient the angle. It has a property here. So you see the orientation you can give to the angle. So in my case, it's 0 degree. I will resize my pipe that it fits with the angle. Like this. I can add a nozzle. I will add a valve, and the valve I will rotate it 90 degrees like that, and to the valve I will associate a tag, which is this will be the valve number 3, and I will add a new piece of pipe. I can also change the angle of my pipe to have a vertical pipe. I will resize it like this, and I will add I can move with the arrow also. If I want to move a little bit, I can move with the arrow, and I will add flow that I can see the water going through the pipe. So it's gray when there is no flow, and flow is going through. It becomes blue and it moves. And this will, I will also associate it to the valve. So when the valve is active, the flow will go through. Then we will declare a dynamic label to display the flow when the valve is active. So I can reduce this a little bit. And the flow, I select a tag, which is flow 3. And I can add a text because it corresponds to cubic meter per hour. So next to the value, you can put any text before and after. And finally, I will declare this text in red. And finally, I will declare a label to indicate that this corresponds to the network 3. So I take a label. The text will be network 3. I will make it in blue. I will make it transparent. And I will change the angle to 270 degrees. Like this, yes. And I will display it like this. Okay, I will move a little bit everything here. I will move. I will take this one too. I will move this one a little bit closer. I will take everything except the pipe, and I will copy, paste. So I repeat this for valve 2 and valve 1. And I will select everything to move it a little bit here. And now I can edit here to change the tag to valve 2. The flow corresponds to valve 2 also. The flow 3 here corresponds to flow 2. And here it's the valve 1. And it is the flow 1. And my text label here, oops, this one here, network 2 and network 1. So very well done. I will make the same for the pump here. Here we are with the pipe for the pump. Just take a look to the different objects, to their properties. For instance, the flow, you have a direction settings. This object here is just a rectangle, so you have availability for basic shapes, rectangle, line, circles. So this is line, so you can just change the colors. An important settings that I have forgotten regarding the valves, it's the right level. Remember that I want the operator to be able to activate the valve, so I have to set a right level, read write, ask for confirmation no. So just by clicking the valve, it will invert the valve, open, close. So I do the same for the 3. And remember that compared to the pump I want the engineer to be able to activate the pump. So the right level for the pump is engineer, the right level for the valve is operator. Now let's add some information, like for instance the name of the station or the temperature, all the information we have through tags. So I will take this dynamic label because it's already configured with color, so I will just copy, paste, and I will just change the tag to station name. So this was in the runtime parameter, station name. No unit, of course, just the value of the name. I can define a label to indicate what this dynamic label corresponds to. So I go to label here, I put a label, and the label will be name, and I can align to the right. And I can copy paste those two, copy paste, and I will add the temperature, because this is also an information I have. I have a tag with the TBox temperature. So I select the tag here, and I will change the tag, and it is internal temperature. Okay. And here I can put a unit, for instance, degree centigrade. And I can increase maybe a little bit those fonts so that it corresponds like this. Okay, and I can put a new label here on top to indicate that those information are information from TBox. So I just put here TBox, and I will set it in blue and align it in the middle. Okay, here we are with some dynamic labels. One more for the pump. I also have an information about the pump temperature, so let's select this tag. So this is into the IOs, and it's the pump temperature. Let's see how this looks in the browser. So let's just save, go to TwinSoft and send. We can see both the web form and the list of tags. So, and we can see the dynamic label. So the TBox name, well, at the moment is just the default name that will be customized when the installation is done. In terms of values of tags, we have the internal temperature, which is here. We have the pump temperature, which is here. I can change this value. It corresponds to a potentiometer in my simulation card. And I can access the pump, start, stop the pump, and I can do the same with the valve. I can stop a valve, the flow will stop also. And you see this object with the flow of the water, which shows the activity of which shows water going through the pipes. I turn on the valve and you can see I have a flow. Now, you can see that this display is not very nice. Sometimes I have a lot of decimals. Sometimes we had 1 decimals. Well, by default, a float shows 6 decimals. This can be limited from the tag presentation. So let's take, for instance, the temperature of the pump. So if I take the tag corresponding, and if I go to presentation, I activate presentation, and I have a configuration of a number of decimal. If I put 1 decimal, this tag will display 1 decimal in the web form. So let's do that for the flows also and for the TBox temperature. So in the TBox temperature, I will select also 1 decimal. And for the flows, I will define 2 decimals. Okay, let's send this to TBox and see the result. We don't need to change anything in the web forms. It will be applied automatically. Okay, TBox has restarted. I just need to make a refresh of the page, so Ctrl F5 to reload the page and the new settings, and then you see now that each flow has 2 decimals and the temperature they have 1 decimal. Another configuration of the tag presentation that we can use is the unit. For instance, if I take the temperature of the pump here, so if I go to presentation, I have a field unit in which I can define a unit, for instance, degree centigrade. Okay, this is what I had configured previously in the web form itself. Remember, I had defined here degree centigrade. Instead, I can say use instead the unit defined in the tag. So for that, I select %u, which will allow me to display the unit as it is defined in the tags. Don't forget, as we are talking about tag presentation, that if you want an operator to be able to write to a tag, this tag must be write allow. So in our case, the 3 valves must be write allow, which has been done already with the previous video. Let's now define other objects. So I go back into my WebForm Studio. To display historical data, we will use a chart. So I just drag this object into my web form. I will increase its size a little bit and move it a little bit. Like this. Let's take a look to the properties. The first property we have is the time scale. So which time scale do we want to appear in the chart? And let's take, for instance, 10 minutes. So 0 hour and 10 minutes to display our flows and tank. Now, in a chart, you define historical data of TBox. It means you define tags that you have declared in sampling tables or chronologies. So here you will define tags defined in sampling tables or chronology. So if I click add, I can see here in history, I can see the tags that I have declared either in chronology, I have 1, or in sampling tables. I will take the flow 1, for instance. Okay. I can select a color. I can select a min and max range, and I will select a min range of 0 and a max range of 5, because my flow there goes between 0 and I think it was 4.5. Then I can decide to show or not show the axis, and I can define a name that will appear in my object. And I can add like this several tags corresponding to sampling tables. I have defined 4 series, so I end with my water tank. I change the color, I can change to show or hide the axis. So I just show 2 axes, the one for the water tank and the one for the network. I just show 1 because the 3 ranges are identical for network 1, 2, 3. So if I just show 1, it's sufficient. I will just move this one up so that it appears the first in the list. And I click OK. And here is my chart with my 2 scales, my two axes to display values. Let's now insert an alarm grid, but I would like this alarm grid, which corresponds to a table that will display the alarms generated by TBox, but I would like to use it to display events like activity of valves and pump. So for that, I will create in my TwinSoft application, I will create alarms for the pump and the valve activity, and I will define those alarms with the recipient default. So it means it will not generate any connection, no sending of SMS, no sending of files or whatever. It will just be logged internally inside TBox, and I will display those events in the alarm grid in the web form. So let's first define the alarms I would like to have. So I would like to have activity of the pump, and I would like to see when the pump goes on, and it will be pump on. Then I will copy paste this one, and it is negative edge, so it's when the pump goes off. And I will do the same for the three valves. I have created the alarms associated to the pumps and the valve when it starts and stops to the recipient default. And the recipient default is an internal recipient. It means the messages are logged in TBox. Let's go back to our web form. So our object alarm list. In fact, what I want to see here is just the start time, so when the event starts, and the description, so what event it is. So I can disable the column that I don't need, so I need start time, I don't need end time, so I will just disable the columns that I don't need. And resize this object. Next object, the links. So I have to travel into my pages. So at the moment I have two pages, index, water. After I will do the maintenance page. So to travel between those pages, I use links, which correspond in fact to hyperlink. And the properties of a link is a URL, and the URL is just composed of the name of the page you want to go to, HTML. I can change the name, and I call this one home. I can change the text color to blue, and I can change the style to italic and increase a little bit the size. That's it. So I will just copy this one, paste to maintenance, and the URL corresponds to the name I have given to my web form, which is maintenance. Okay. Last object, the image. I would like to have a logo of my TBox in my web form. So I select the object image. I have an image of I have a logo of the TBox available in the directory of my application. I select it, and I can resize it the way I want. So this is it for all objects. Now let's save this and send to TBox and see the result. Here is the web form online. I have left TBox running a little bit so that we can have some data displayed, so we can see the valve activity. So I can manually activate the valve. Then when the valve is active, I can see the flow going through the pipe. I can see the flow, the current flow when it is active. I can activate the pump manually. I can stop the pump. And I see in this table here all the events when pump and valve are activated or stopped. I should maybe resize a little bit this table because I cannot see the network here. So I can resize this a little bit. Okay, here we are. Now, regarding the chart, we can see that we have a refresh button because the chart is not refreshed automatically. So when I click refresh, okay, it shows the historical data. We will see using script how we can automate this. So let's go back to the web form. To automate the refresh of the chart, we can use an object timer. So in the libraries, we have a group of special object, and in the special object, we have a timer. So let's insert a timer. Let's insert a timer. And when you insert a timer, you see it does not appear really in the web form itself because there is nothing to display. It appears in the list of special object. A timer has a property which is a period, and let's take a period of 10 seconds to refresh the chart each 10 seconds. So what will happen at 10 seconds? They will have a tick. So the timer will make a tick each 10 seconds, and in the script I have an event on tick, and what do I want to do on each tick? I want to refresh the chart. So let's open the script window. And in the script window, I can act on object. And to display all the available object, I can start chart, click F7, and I see all the object available on the page, and I have a chart. So I select this chart, dot, and then I have a property which is refresh, close, open, close property, semicolon, and this is it. When you are in script, if you want to put some command, you put slash twice and you type this is a automatic refresh of the chart based on timer object. Save. Save and send to TBox, and the chart will be automatically refreshed each 10 seconds. By the way, in the view, you can display all the scripts available on the page. It indicates on which object it is and what is the script. So this can be helpful if you want to debug or find some script you have on a page. This is it for the water page. Let's now work on the maintenance page. So I go back into TwinSoft. I double click on the maintenance TWA file. And if I go back to WebForms2.0, I see I have now a new tab with a maintenance page I can edit. I will change its size to 1000 to make sure I have enough room to put all I want to put on it. So remember, the maintenance, the goal is to provide the possibility to customize the application through the runtime parameters. So the runtime parameters, remember, into my TwinSoft application, I have a folder runtimes in which I have created tags associated to configuration, and I want this configuration to be easily accessible when I install my TwinSoft, so that I don't need TwinSoft to update this, that I can do it through an HTML page. So all those informations here, I will define them now in a web page. So I will first put a label, which will be a text. So the label, okay, and the label is, my first property is TBox name. I can align to the right. resize a little bit like this. Then I put a dynamic label which corresponds to the property I want to change. So I will select the tag corresponding to the TBox name, and it is the tags RTU time station name. I will change this in red, and I will copy paste those two to define all my runtime parameters in the page. So this one is TBox address, and this one is station address, and so on. I will copy paste and make all of them. I have copied paste all my runtime parameters. By the way, I can also do copy paste between web forms. So if I want, for instance, to take the clock, I can copy the clock to the maintenance page, and I can also take the logo of the TBox, for instance, copy, paste. So very easy to configure. Important parameter of the object is the period at which the tags will be sampled. So to avoid useless data throughput, you can reduce the period at which the tags will be sampled. For instance, the tag hours. You can sample it each second, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 30 seconds, 60 seconds. You cannot do more than 60 seconds. Well, these tags change each hour, so I can sample it at the highest period. The same for the minute. I can sample it each 60 seconds. And the seconds, okay, let's keep it each second so that I have my seconds indication moving faster. You see that I also have a period 0 second. What does it mean? It means it is sampled once when the HTML page is loaded, and then after that, not anymore. If you write into the tag to change it, what will be the case with those tags here? It will be automatically refreshed. So when you have static data like name and all those configurations here, you can leave it with a period of 0. Remember that the object here, the runtime parameters here, you want to change them. So make sure that you have given a right level, and which is in our case must be a right level engineer, because remember, only an engineer can change the value. Ask confirmation, no. So you have to do that for each object. Right level engineer, access protection, no. As far as APN is concerned, when updated, to be taken into account by the GSM must be reset. So for that we can use a communication variable, which is the hook link variable associated to the GSM. When we read 1, it means the GSM is linked to the operator, and by writing 0, we can reset the GSM. So let's do that from the web form. To do that from the web form, we will use the object button. So I insert a button, I change its name, I call it reset APN. I will change its size to 14. The background color, I will make it red. And I will associate an action to this button. First, it must be write aloud. So as an engineer, because only an engineer can do that. And the action will be force value. And which value will I force? I will force 0. So when I will click on the button, it will send 0 to TBox. And for which tag? From the tag, remember the link, hook link. So you select the tag, you select write aloud, and you select what value you will assign to this tag. As far as SMS is concerned, I would like also to be able to send a test SMS from the web form. So for that, I will also make a button associated to a digital tag, and this digital tag will generate an SMS, a test SMS. So for this, I have to create a new tag. So I will call it new test SMS. Okay, and I will associate a button to this tag text SMS. Now, if I do that, I can copy paste this one because I like the look of this button. So I will associate this button here, test SMS. I will put it here. I call it test SMS, and I will select the tag test SMS. I don't see the tag. Well, this is normal because this tag is part of the TwinSoft document. Remember, the TwinSoft document is a property of my web form. This TwinSoft document is loaded once when we open the web form. In order this new tag to be available for the WebForm Studio, I have first to save my TwinSoft document. And in WebForm Studio, which is another software, I have to reload my TwinSoft document reference. Okay, it's loading. Now, when it is loaded, if I go now here, test SMS, and I try to select the button, select the tag, I see I have now my test SMS, which is available. The test SMS will be false value, and in my case it will be false value 1. And I will associate an alarm condition to this test SMS tag in TBox. So in TBox, I make alarm condition, add an alarm, test SMS, positive edge, recipient. I will send to the first recipient, for instance, the first SMS, and the message will be test SMS. That's it. So I have now implemented in the web form a way to test my SMS. I have one more thing to think of. So from the web form, I will force a value 1. But okay, I have in my TBox to schedule a reset of this tag. Otherwise, I will only be able to make one test and then after that, finish. So for that, I will, in my programs, when my tag, I will put that into the main. So I will do that into ladder logic. So when I have a positive edge on the test SMS, so in fact, when it is activated by the web form, in the TBox, I will reset it automatically. So it will be ready for the next time. And I compile and I click escape to leave. So this is done by the web form. The alarm will be generated, and immediately after that, the tag will be reset. Let's do the same for the FTP and the email. So I will make test FTP and test email. So I will copy paste those here, then rename, and I will do the same for the tags in the TBox. I will create tags test FTP and test email, and test FTP, and I will also generate alarms. Here are the alarms. So the alarm to test FTP associated to the recipient FTP sending a report, and the alarm email sending also a report. In my ladder logic, I have also implemented the reset of those tags when they are activated from the web form. And now in the web form, I will just update this. So it's a test FTP. The tag is The tag is test FTP. I don't see it. Normal. I have to save my document, my TwinSoft document, and reload my document in the web form. That's it. So now I have access to my test FTP. Okay. Action is value force 1. This is the same. And here test email associated to the tag text email. Next information I would like to see in my maintenance page relate to the GSM. I would like to see the status of the GSM. I would like to know which network it is connected to. Is it 2G or 3G or 4G? And I would like to know which IP address it has. So I will first copy paste a label. I will remove it, copy paste, and I will call it network. So if I want to detect which network I am connected to, I will go to my TwinSoft application. I have created a text variable called GSM network. I have created a small piece of program already, so which use the modem state variable to detect that the GSM is effectively connected, meaning it has an IP address. And then when it is the case, I check the communication variable indicating which network we are on. If the value is 1, we are connected to a 3G network. If the value is 2, it's a 4G network. Otherwise, it's a GPRS network. And if my modem is not connected, then I have an information indicating that the GSM is not connected. Okay, this program is called from the main, so it is available. Let's save this to make sure that this tags is available in my web form. So I have to reload the TwinSoft document, and this new tag, GSM network, will become available. I will copy paste this dynamic label, and I will just change the assignment to the tag GSM network. Here we are. And I will change the color. I will make it text color. I will make it blue. Okay, so I want 3 information. I want the status of the modem, and I would like also to have the IP address. So copy, paste, and I will move those 6 a little bit higher. I can even copy paste this rectangle. And by the way, when you have several objects on top of each other, you right click and you say send to back, and this rectangle is now sent to the back, and I can change its color to this blue, for instance. Here I wish to see the state of my modem, so I will change the text of the label, and instead of displaying the value of a tag, I will display another object which is called the multi-state text, and this object will display text depending of values. So I will associate a tag. This tag will be the modem state tag, communication modem state, and I can define for each value a text. So if I look into the help of TwinSoft to what correspond the different values of modem state, so if I go to the help, how to debug modem connection, then I have the description of each value the modem state can have. You see, there are a lot of values. I will just take some of them, the principles. So I click here, I select, okay, let's start with the value 0, and value 0 is startup of the modem. Value 0. I have defined some of the values, for instance, the value 4 corresponding to initializing, checking the signal, when it is connected, when the GSM is resetting, when we receive an error, when it sends an SMS, the value associated to registration, and at the end, if the GSM has been switched off. Okay. I will turn this text to blue too. I will remove it a little bit higher. Then here I want to have the IP address. And I will associate it to the tag with the IP address. And this tag is a 32 bits. And if you want to display a 32 bits with an IP format, you can go to Help, WebForm Object, MISC, Dynamic Label, and then you will see all the possible format you have to display a tag. And one is %I, which will display a 32 bits decimal into IP address format. So let's define that. Close this one, sorry. So %I. By the way, regarding display format, if we have a dynamic label displaying a password, for instance, you would like the password not to be visible. So for this you have a % which is %P for password, and you display the character you want to display instead of the password. In this case it's a star. Okay, we will add another object which is the alarm grid. So, but in this case we will display a complete alarm grid, because we don't only want to see event associated to pump and to valves, we want to see all the alarms, the SMS, the FTP, email, and so on. So I will leave all the columns so that when I activate the test, I can see the result into this object. Then I will add the links. For that I can go to the water page. I can copy paste those two links here. Copy. I can put them here, for instance. And I will just go. The home stays the same, and this one, well, it goes to water, and the link is water.htm. Now I will add another link that will allow me to display a series of logs available in TBox. Those logs can be accessed through a browser. So if I connect to TBox with the browser and I type the IP address and then I type API/diag for diagnostic, then I access a diagnostic page where I can access a lot of logs in TBox. I will take this link here and I will take that as URL. So if I make a new link, I will find a place. Okay, I will put it here at the moment. I call it logs. And the URL is, I've just copied it, so I will just paste it. So this is the link. I will make a back color this yellow, and that's it. So I will just maybe remove a little bit those, resize a little bit, and put these logs here. And make the size also here 14. One last feature related to security. I would like that when displaying this web page, it automatically closes after 10 minutes of no activity. Because this is a configuration page, I would not like this page to stay open if the engineer leaves the screen. For this, I can go to main object. And in main object, we can see that the main object includes a timeout. And on timeout, we can do some scripting. Let's change timeout to 10 minutes and go to the script editor. And let's call the namespace WebForms. Then we have a function session end. I open close bracket because there is no value. And then, so this will just simply close the session, so automatically log out. And in addition, I will switch back to the index page so that the user can log in again. So I do WebForms again, WebForms go to, and the property is a URL as a string. So I just type index.htm, close bracket, semicolon. So that's it for the script, and this ends the development of the maintenance page. Let's now see our home page, the index page in which we will log in. The goal of the index page is for the user to log in. So the index page must be accessible to anyone. We will see that when we reactivate the access protection in TBox. And then either an operator or an engineer can log in, and according to the level, he can access water and maintenance page if he's an engineer, and if he's an operator, he can only access the water page. So we will define input box to allow the user to type his name and password. So I will call this input box username. I will need that afterwards. You will see we will do some scripting, and the user will type here his name. So I can put a label here, the label is name. Alignment, right, okay. Then we will do the same for password, so I will just copy paste those, copy paste, and here it will be, I can remove the border for here. If you put a border side of 0, you see the border disappears. And here it's the user will enter his password, the name of the object, no sorry, here he will type his password, the name of the object will be user password, and very important, its type will be password, so that when the user type, you don't see what he's typing. Okay. Then we need two buttons to log in, log out. So let's first try it with the logout. I will add a button here, and I will call this button logout. I can change its background color to red. And when I click on this button, this will log out. So on the button, we can associate a tag, but we can also associate an event on click. And this is what I will use. I will use the scripting to log out. You're not obliged to assign a tag when there is an on-click scripting. Well, the on-click scripting will be executed, and you can in addition add a tag if you want, but it's not mandatory. You can use one or the other or both. So I open the edition, script edition. I select the namespace WebForms. We have seen that already with the other web page. And here I select session ends, open, close, semicolon. So that's it. So when I log out, I just close the session. Okay, close. Now the login button, I can copy, paste. I will just change the color and the text and the color, sorry, make it green like this. Now the scripting will be a little bit different. So first, when I log in, I will first close the session so that I restart a new session from clear. Then to start a session, namespace is the same. Then we have a session start, which has argument. And what are the arguments? It's the name as a string and the password. And what are the names? So I have my input object here with name and password. I will use the text typed in those input box. And to access the text, you type the name of the object, username dot get text, comma, and user password dot get text, open, close, semicolon. So like this, I will start a new session with the name as the password that have been typed there. Then next, I will just clean those boxes. Next, I will clear the box that they are empty. So to clear the box, I say user name dot set text in this case, and I will just empty the box like this, semicolon, and I can do the same for the password, and I just change, oops, two more, and just say password here. So we have defined the login and the logout buttons. Then I will insert a label to display the level of the current user. Okay, I just call it label, the text, and I will just change the back color to yellow, for instance, and increase the size and set it in bold. And this will be done through script, so I can select the text, and I change current user level, increase, and finally I will add links to the pages, and according to has been logged, the corresponding links will be available. So I have a link to water, so I will just copy this one to water, and I have a link to maintenance. I will take this one, copy, paste, and now I will do some scripting to display the links according to the level of the user. The script will be implemented in the main object in the group linked to the session. So when the session change, the script will be executed. First, I will create a local variable called user level, to which I will assign the current user level. So for that, I have a function which is get user level, open close brackets, semicolon. Then we will do a switch case. When the user is level 2, we do certain things. When the user is level 3, we do other things. And when the user is none of them, we just provide no access to the TBox. So the switch case, you do switch, you indicate which variable you do the switch on. And then we will do the script, paragraph. So this is the script. So when the case is 2, so it means we are an operator. The operator can access the link to the water and cannot access the link to the maintenance. So you see there is a function show and a function hide, and the label indicating what is the current user level, I will write it to operator. When it is an engineer, I can show the link to the maintenance, and I can change the text to engineer. And when it is neither operator nor engineer, so I hide the two links and I set the text to no user level. And when I have successfully logged in, I can show the button logout. Otherwise, the button logout is hidden. Okay, let's save this. And now I will finalize the page by adding a logo, for instance, and some comment. Then here it is. So we will save each web form. Make sure to save all your web form independently and go back to TwinSoft, where we will send this to TBox. But before that, remember that we have deactivate the protection, so we have to reactivate the protection from protection activate access security with HTTP protection on and HTTP session authentication on, which will be required to run the script properly in the web form. Then in the list of web and report files, we can see that each object has a required access level configuration. So this will allow to determine which user can access which page. For instance, the index page, any user can access the page. So we will change the access level to 0. You have to do it for the TWA and for the HTM. Then the water page is accessible to operator. So I will change the require access level to 2. So it means it's mandatory to be logged to access the water page, but to be logged as an operator is sufficient. Now the maintenance page, only engineer can access the page. This configuration with the fact that access protection is activated will allow the browser to provide access to the right people to the right page. Let's now test this globally. Let's send to TBox and we will see the result in the browser. I have opened the browser to IP address of TBox. If you are connected through Ethernet, COM3 is 192.168.199. If you are connected through the USB, it's 10.8.10.1. Okay. Once connected, I can log in either as engineer or operator. Let's log as engineer. Log in. Now I see I can access two pages, maintenance and water. So as an engineer, I access the configuration page where I can change, for instance, the name of the TBox. I can change its station address. I can change the APN corresponding to the SIM card which is in TBox. When I change the APN, I have to reset the APN. It means I restart the GSM from startup to connect to the operator with the right APN. I can change the mobile number to the user I have. I can test the SMS, so I just click here and I send an SMS to this first number. The event will appear into the list of SMS. Here it is already. When it is acknowledged, the recipient will appear here. I can change the setting of the FTP server. I can send the setting of the mail server. I can access the logs from the TBox. Okay, it works fine. And access the water page. And from the water page, I see the data. I see that the chart will refresh automatically. As an engineer, I can activate and stop the pump, and of course also the valve. Okay. As an engineer, I can do everything required. Let's go to the home again, and let's now log in, log out first. Let's log in as an operator. As an operator, I can access only to the water page. As an operator, I can access the valve. As an operator, I cannot access the pump. This is reserved to engineer. You've seen the chart has just refreshed, and as it will do each 10 seconds. If I want to go to the maintenance, I have to log in through an embedded login HTML page. So I can type engineer. And I will go to the maintenance page. By the way, you see that the GSM is now connected to a 4G network, and this is the current IP address it has. Okay, this is it for the long and important video about WebForm 2. Let's take a look to the questionnaire. You will create the web forms as you have seen in the video. Before that, we will update the tags flow and temperature to set the number of decimal to 2 in the tag presentation. Deactivate access security. It will make development of the web forms easier. In the folder Weapon Reports, you create 3 WebForms2.0, Index, Water, and Maintenance. Be careful that as far as web server is concerned, everything is case sensitive. Double-click the TWA file water and create the following objects. Create chart and alarm grid also, and hyperlinks to other pages, so water and maintenance. Edit the maintenance page and add some runtime parameters in the video. Make sure that you make the dynamic labels write aloud with access level engineer. Edit the index page. Add the 2 inputs to type name and password, the 2 buttons login, logout, and the label to display the current user. Make the scripts. Be careful in the script. Once again, script is case sensitive. The ID of the object can be changed. Okay, instead of using label _1 or button _1 or 2 or whatever, you can change the name of the object, and those names will be used in the script. Send regularly to TBox and check it communicates properly with the browser. When you have finished, reactivate access security that you can test the different logs, and take snapshot of the pages online, or do a small film like you want and send that to us, including the file associated to the reports and the WebForm 2. Good luck.